Okay, so I'm just going to provide a quick recap on the philosophy of the Weydon flight path. So when we created this flight path, the only thing that we knew for sure was that when our students get to year 11, they will be assessed on the new grading system of 1 to 9. So GCSE grades have gone. So what we were left with was the desire to create a system which scaffolded students so that as many of our students as possible would make their 4 levels of progress, and where the language that is necessary in order for them to understand the progress that they need to make and the leaps of learning that they need to make is embedded within our entire assessment system. So our students are going to be baselined in year 6 exactly as they always have been, and they'll have their FPS generated just as they used to have their MEG generated. And the idea of the system is that, let's say for example their FPS is a 7, and so at the end of year 11 that's where we want them to be. We want them to be achieving a 7 all the way through. And the reason that's possible is because the level of challenge needed to achieve the 7 at each year group increases. And that's where the language of learning comes in and where our feedback comes in. Because we need to be telling the students at all times, this is where you are, this is what you can do, and this is what the next step is. And to make that as explicit as possible so they take ownership for them making sure that they are climbing up this system. So when we do our grade sheets, what we need to be doing is taking a judgment based on home studies and assessments and also your feedback that you've got in lessons, so that you can make a best fit judgment of where that student is at the moment. And if they're not quite there yet, ensuring that in our feedback we're giving them the guidance to make sure that they know exactly what they need to do to get there. And I know that from my own teaching, I've got students who aren't there yet, but it's of course only November and we've got a long way to go. So it's making sure that if they're not quite there, we're still using all of those criteria in order to scaffold them towards getting there in the end.